The sun is setting as I circle back to Grandaw's farm for supper. I love dusk as much as I hate the dawn. Even indirect sunlight feels like a great fist, squeezing me throughout the day. But now that pressure is receding, and it's like waking up, feeling my senses expand and my powers return. I'm almost home when I see fresh scars in the bark of a tall tree, throbbing with escaping heat. My eyes flick around, noting similar marks on other trees as I follow the path to where the creature dropped down to the ground, leaving 2 great taloned footprints in the dirt. Wood demon. For the most part, coralings come in 2 types, regulars and wanderers. Regulars tend to hunt the same area every night. Wanderers roam about, following spore trails and sound in search of prey. They can range for miles, coming in and out of a region. Tibbetts Brook was too far away to get purged of demons like the Free Cities did when Daw destroyed the demon hive. But they were less out here to begin with, and Aunt Celia's militia cleared out all the regulars years ago. Still, every once in a while a wanderer finds its way onto someone's property. If it finds prey, there's a chance it might become a regular. It's hard to imagine one wandering so close to the farm's great ward without drawing attention, but these prints are barely a day old. Demons hate sunlight even more than I do. My skin burns easily, but they burst into flame. Like me, I expect to feel morning's weight pressing on them long before the dawn. To escape, they use their magic to dissipate, becoming insubstantial as they flee back underground using one of the natural vents that magic uses to flow up from the core. But even wanderers are creatures of habit. Whatever vent a coraling uses to escape the sun will be the same one it rises from the next night, which means the demon is still in the area. I take a deep breath and blow it slowly out my nostrils. Today had been such a quiet day. I have to tell everyone about this, but I already know what they'll say. When your Daw saves the world, folk have expectations. I busy myself in the barn, but it's really just an excuse to get out of the house. I'd rather listen in on the adults from here than sit there and have them talk like I'm invisible. Aunt Celia and her wife came out to the farm when she got news of the wanderer. Figures she'd call me out for stealing her butter cookies while she was here, but she didn't.
Boy's got to learn to do things for himself, Wren.
How many summers did you have again, Jeff Bales, the first time you stood up to a demon on your property?
Too many. You know it.
Grandaw strikes a match, puffing at his pipe.
Like to think I raised my kids to be better than me.
Ma'am doesn't have a reply to that.
What do you think, Harry? Darin ready for this?
Boy knows all the songs backward and forward. Just needs a bit of confidence.
Aye, that's a sunny way of putting it. It ain't that I'm scared of coralings exactly. Been wandering around alone at night since I was old enough to walk. Come across demons plenty of times, but I'm smart enough to avoid them. They want me to use my pipes to call one right to me.
Only way to get confident at a thing is to do it. Ain't gonna be by himself. Harry and me will be right there with him.
New moon tomorrow.
Ain't seen more than the occasional wanderer around these parts in 10 years. Let the boy show what he can do.
Aye, all right. Reckon it's time Darin started learning the family business.
The royal carriage doesn't stand out as much as I feared. Here in the capital, other powerful families have sent their children on the borough tour in carriages much more garish. Mother prefers efficient simplicity over ornate design. Her carriage is dignified, if plain, but it is designed to withstand demon talons and Milne's flamework weapons alike. Beneath the polished wood veneer of its panels and roof, the carriage is comprised of specially warded glass, stronger, thinner, and lighter than steel. But while the carriage doesn't stand out, Mother's cavalry surrounding the cart does. The Hollow Lancers have always been flamboyant like their leader, Captain Gammon, with colorfully lacquered wooden armor under bright blue tabards and yellow capes, feathers in their helms. I always thought they looked quite fine prancing through maneuvers in the yard, lances standing in precise lines like the bristles of a fine brush. But here, they shout my presence at a time when I want nothing more than anonymity. Sellen's plan won't work if everyone on the entire tour's got one eye on us. We lead a procession that grows and grows as we wind through Cutter's Hollow. Teens are gathering today in every burrow. The tourism minister estimates over 1,000 in the group from the capital alone. For some, it is their first time away from home. Others have made it an annual tradition, a state-funded excuse to travel and shop. A small army of vendors follow the tour, in addition to those in the countless market squares we'll encounter along the way. A select few tourists ride horses or travel in carriages, but most walk or crowd together in the backs of mule carts. The streets of Cutter's Hollow curve and loop, punctuated by irregular plazas, fields, and strands of trees. Even the buildings have shapes and sizes that defy practical architecture. This is not the work of some mad civil engineer. From above, the odd shapes form the lines of Mother's Great Wards, lines of power that draw ambient magic and shape it into a forbidding that no demons can abide.
Our first stop will be New Rising.
First Minister Arthur is in his glory, making the carriage his personal classroom as he recites the history of the boroughs of Hollow Duchy. It's so boring, I almost wish I'd stayed behind. I look out the window and see Minda and our other classmates as they follow on foot. I watch enviously as they laugh and mingle with the group from the Warders Academy.
It was here that Arlen Bales was seen glowing in the night sky as he drew power from the first Great Ward, throwing fire and lightning at the demon horde.
That can't possibly be honest word.
I'm inclined to agree, though there are paintings of the event in every holy house from here to Krasia.
I didn't witness it personally, but I heard accounts from those who did, and I saw the Deliverer's magic firsthand. This is not conjecture. It is verified historical fact.
Selen and I share a look, but neither of us argues further.
The battle was the first test of the Great Wards your mother built to shelter the refugees from Krasia's advance. Whole villages packed up and fled the path of your father's armies.
My father's armies. The thought is so alien. I only met Father once, 14 years ago, just after the Demon War, when he came to Hollow to sign the new Pact of the Free Cities. Politics have kept him away ever since. I was not yet 2 and don't recall much of it, but I do remember how tall Father was, clad in flowing robes and haloed in a rainbow of color as the gemstones on his crown split the light. When he held me, it felt like the safest place in the world. I can't remember what he said. His voice was so deep and soothing I felt it in my bones. I'm told I fell asleep in his arms. It's difficult to imagine that same man leading a horde of warriors across Thesa, crushing cities and towns to levy men into his demon-killing army. But it isn't in question. Verified historical fact, as Arthur would say. Mika watches Arthur impassively as he speaks, her eyes unreadable. She does not correct him or offer defense of our father's actions.
Another leader would have turned the refugees away. Others did turn them away. Fort Angiers closed their gates. Fort Milne increased the garrison at the crossing of the River Dividing. The Lactonian captains refused to give refugees passage to the city on the lake. Only Duchess Paper offered healing and succor, teaching them to build their own great wards, interconnected with the key ward of Cutter's Hollow. There were 16 boroughs at the end of the war, but birth rates soared in the years of peace and prosperity that followed. A score of new great wards have been added since, making Hollow the most populous duchy in Thesa.
I've heard this story before, of course. Tales of Mother's greatness, her bravery, her selflessness in protecting everyone who came to her in search of succor. It's no wonder the people love her. But all I can think of is her disapproving stare, and how hard I have to fight even for small freedoms in half measure. I think of what parent has hidden beneath the carriage, and I wonder if I will have the courage to steal a few days of real freedom. I let Arthur drone on, half listening as I stare out the windows. I've been to many of the inner boroughs alongside Mother as she gave speeches, breaking ground and cutting ribbons at universities, public libraries, and hospitals. Now, for the first time, I'm traveling into the outer boroughs. By tomorrow, I'll be farther from home, farther from Mother, than I have ever been. I take a breath, and already my chest feels lighter. Our first stop is the market square of New Rising, where hundreds gather to begin the tour. I moved to join Minda and the others, but the boys from the Warders Academy shy away. The tour has chaperones, but nothing like Captain Wanda, who follows a step behind me in her warded armor.
Olive, perhaps you can tell the group when the Cathedral of New Rising was built.
I press my lips, trying to swallow my annoyance. No doubt the minister thinks it's grand to have the Princess of Hollow as his assistant. Indeed, everyone falls silent to listen.